here's Brody Brazil.
So it appears that the scheduled media tour of A's owner John Fisher has reached its conclusion. He's completed the 3 interviews that we all knew about, one with the Las Vegas newspaper, one with Raj Mathai of NBC Bay Area, and now this one on a national level with ESPN.com. And we'll get into this article and its 13 paragraphs in just a second. But first, the bigger picture realization here is that considering Mr. Fisher's silence for all these years and decades on many topics, including potential relocation, you would have to think that what we've consumed this week, the 3 interviews he's done, that's probably it. And that we're very unlikely to hear from him again throughout the rest of this process, no matter what twists and turns it takes. Even if there are extenuating circumstances, I don't know if we'll ever hear his perspectives again. So just food for thought as we consume this article and its headline, which, by the way, the biggest eye-opener from this piece may not actually even be the interview itself, but something that comes to us from the mayor of Oakland's office. Headline says, A's owner Fisher says Vegas relocation application filed, points finger at Oakland. We begin. The Oakland Athletics have submitted their application for relocation to Major League Baseball, owner John Fisher told ESPN on Thursday, putting the team one step closer to a future in Las Vegas. The fate of the team now resides in the hands of MLB's owners. Well, if that application is indeed complete and submitted, I'm very curious about what it says. The parts about leaving Oakland, the parts about securing financing for that ballpark in Las Vegas, how much the ballpark even costs is a huge question. There's no design yet. There's also not an assurance of where this team would or even could play for the years of 2025, 2026, and 2027. And that's in a best-case scenario if this project were on track and on target for a 2028 opening. So the completion of something that has a lot of questions publicly. Privately, are there some answers? I don't know. But what's in that application, I think a lot of people would want to see. They'd want to confirm that it's actually complete. MLB's 3-man relocation committee, consisting of Kansas City Royals Chief Executive Officer John Sherman, Phillies CEO John Middleton, and Brewers Chairman Mark Atanasio, will review the application and make a recommendation to Commissioner Rob Manfred and MLB's 8-man executive council. Ultimate approval requires a 3/4 vote of the 30-team owners. No vote has been scheduled. I'm here to predict December. November, December. It's what I'm targeting right now, realistically. Fisher in his first national interview since purchasing the A's in 2005. I mean, I've been assuming that this was the first big-time interview, and turns out, according to ESPN, it is. Fisher, in his first national interview since purchasing the A's in 2005, attributed the decision to move the franchise to a number of factors. Stop right there. We're going to hear one. I'd love to know what the other ones are. Primarily, the inability of the city of Oakland to make good on its promise to provide public funding for the off-site infrastructure at Howard Terminal, a $12 billion, 55-acre waterfront ballpark / real estate project. And I think that contrast right there, now that we've consumed 9 acres, $1.5 billion in Las Vegas versus 12 billion, 55 acres in Oakland. The ambitions got scaled down so dramatically. And maybe the $12 billion amount was always inflated, but the 55-acre part is definitely not. The scaling down of the size and cost of this project, it's always going to be fascinating to me, even if we never really find out the true answer of why on this type of pivot. Quote, in the end, we concluded that the city had not raised sufficient money to cover the commitments it made, Fisher said. We also had a deadline imposed by the collective bargaining agreement from a year and a half ago that required the A's to have a binding agreement on a new stadium by January of 2024, or we would lose our revenue sharing, which would be hugely detrimental to the organization. I think that's a crazy part, the reliance on revenue sharing to even exist as a fully functioning operation, a healthy operation. And so in the end, in reverse, if the A's do move and they go to Las Vegas and the Howard Terminal part didn't work out, are we literally saying that revenue sharing made the A's move to Las Vegas? Revenue sharing caused relocation? The way that is supposed to help a small market team stay in their spot is what actually made them move? Wow. When you think about it that way, it's even harder to accept. A spokesperson for Oakland Mayor Sheng Thao pushed back on Fisher's assertions Thursday night, saying the city had raised $475 million and was just $101 million short of reaching its goal. In addition, two grants totaling another $65 million are due to pay out in the next month, bringing the city to within $36 million of its share. And that right there, to me, is the biggest takeaway of this piece in total. $36 million away. That is the literal gap, reportedly, from the mayor's office of why Howard Terminal is not moving forward. Now, this money, I should remind everybody, is not coming from the city of Oakland. These are state and federal grants. And Oakland, throughout its time in this process, has largely been behind the curve. When the A's kind of floated it out there, we'd like some help, we'd like to do this, it kind of went unheard by the city of Oakland in years prior, 4, 5, 6 years ago. I'm not sure that Oakland was quick to move on any of the A's ambitions. But near the end here, to do the quick math and say that Oakland has raised $540 million, they've gathered that money from other places just for infrastructure on request, by request of the A's. They've done this. And at the end, to say that they didn't hold up their part of the bargain, well, to the tune of almost $36 million, and if they're still working on it and we can still see it here, maybe at some point, to be fair, if you're the A's, put a deadline on this. Put a known deadline. By this date of this year, whatever it is, if you can't get it done, that's when we're going to have to move away. Give Oakland a hard deadline. They were working, and then all of a sudden, I say all of this is for nothing. This will eventually get utilized by the city of Oakland to do the infrastructure improvements around that area, which are needed with a ballpark or not. So I also don't want anybody to get too sad over this money and say that it was wasted or that it shouldn't be used. Of course it should be. Oakland procured this earmarked money for specific reasons. They're going to spend this. But it could have boosted Oakland's endeavors so much more if it also included a ballpark project at Howard Terminal instead of just fixing up the area as needed. This is the takeaway. And I do commend ESPN for getting the other side of it. I mean, Mr. Fisher could be exactly right here. The city didn't get to their total amount. By the way, that total amount changed over time, changed through a pandemic, increased with inflation. It only went up. So the city of Oakland was chasing a moving goal line here, if we're going to make a football reference. But if they were $360 million short, I'd say, yeah, that's something that can't be bridged. But if it's $36 million and shrinking, that's also hard to accept. in this process. The A's lease on the Oakland Coliseum, the team's home since 1968, expires after next season, and the Las Vegas Stadium will not open until 2028 at the earliest. I just want to reiterate, it's a big project down there. Apparently. I mean, we don't know the design. We've not heard the cost. The hotel part of it, like, it's not just the 9 acres, it's the other 26 surrounding this site as well, too. And to think that there won't be any holdups or delays, and it's a 31-month stadium build, it's all ambitious. So 2028 at the earliest. Fisher said he's unsure where the team will play in the interim, adding that he'd be open to an extension of the Coliseum lease. I would reword that. I would say that's probably the A's absolute first choice. Doesn't cost you anything to move away. You stay where you're at. The rent has to probably go up. $1.25 million a year currently. I doubt that's going to be the cost on a short-term, much-needed lease that the A's would be looking for, and that the City of Oakland, County of Alameda, and the Joint Powers Authority is probably not extremely thrilled to be giving out. Now, there's also this. If you're the City of Oakland and a Major League Baseball team really needs something from you, and you have that thing, that home, that temporary home that they really need for 3 years, I've seen this mentioned. Why not make a trade with baseball? We'll give you the A's home, the Coliseum, for 3 years. Give Oakland an expansion team starting in 2028. Just a thought. Probably a whole separate video on that some other time. So to say that being open to a lease extension is where it stands, I think the A's are highly desiring the ability to stay in Oakland for a multitude of reasons: convenience, finances. I just don't know if it's an actual option for the team. The A's have the lowest payroll in baseball and have not signed a prominent free agent during Fisher's 18-year tenure. By the way, Eric Chavez's contract back in 2004 remains the team's biggest contract awarded to a player. Was it 6 years, $66 million? $66 million is it. I believe there's only 3 franchises that still exist in baseball that have never given out a $100 million player contract. The A's, the White Sox, and the Kansas City Royals. It's crazy to think that 2004, almost 20 years ago, remains the biggest player contract. They are in the midst of one of the worst seasons in big league history at 37-91. I'm very well aware of that as the postgame guy. After winning 97 games in 2021, a quick fact check here. The A's did not win 97 games in 2021. They did in 18 and 19. In fact, in 2020, I think it was 36 wins. That was the equivalent of what would have been another 97-win season if you extrapolate it, but they won far fewer games in 2021. Remember, they had a really good thing going, couple injuries. The season kind of fell apart, but still a competitive 2021 season. The A's tore down a young and promising team, trading All-Stars Matt Olson, Sean Murphy, and Matt Chapman before the start of the 2022 season. And that also goes along with letting Bob Melvin walk, never re-signing Liam Hendricks, and offering Marcus Semien a layaway type contract. They'd pay him out for one season over 10 years or something like that. That will change once the team moves to Las Vegas, Fisher promised, citing the proposed $1.5 billion in private financing for a 33,000-seat ballpark on the 9 acres on the Strip. So you're going to spend more to spend more. And probably make some more along the way, but that's spending a lot more to make some more. And by the way, it's now apparently across the board a 33,000 seat stadium after all the commentary that's been done and promising that, every game would have 28,000 plus to satisfy the payback of bonds for Clark County. Now, all of a sudden, it's interesting that the A's have also pivoted on this. 30,000, 30,000, 30,000, and now it's 33,000 everywhere you look. Oh, yeah, by the way, still on 9 acres. That number has never changed. That number has been even solidified, it seems, by the landowners at the Tropicana site, and Bally's has been a little bit in the middle on that number. Quote, "We would not be making that kind of investment if we weren't planning on putting a team on the field that can win the World Series," Fisher said. "We understand that Vegas wants a winner and demands a winner." I just want to take that last sentence right there. We understand that Vegas wants a winner and demands a winner. Is it to say that Oakland never has? And maybe some of the sentiments and lack of attendance, all of that across the last few years, but more so decades, isn't that Oakland's only way of saying that they want a winner and that they have demanded a winner? I don't even know if it's been that. They've just wanted a competitive team. They've wanted to just keep some of the teams they already had. That's the crazy part. I think A's fans, generally speaking, loved different iterations of the A's, the 2012, 13, and 14 team, the Cespedes and Donaldson types. Love the A's of 18, 19, 20, the Matts, Chapman, and Olsen, Frankie Montas, Sean Murphy, Marcus, and on and on and on. I can't list everybody. It's not that A's fans even wanted something different. They just wanted what they had. To say that Las Vegas is so different and that you'll provide for them, I just want to make sure that it goes said that I think Oakland has wanted these things and demanded these things the entire time too, and that's maybe a reason things are at where they're at among the fan base. Fisher and Lou Wolf purchased the A's in 2005 for a reported $180 million. Forbes estimates the current value of the team at nearly $1.2 billion, which, by the way, I've projected will magnify about 1.7 times, maybe closer to $2 billion, if they get a new stadium anywhere. Oakland or Las Vegas, new stadium boosts the value of this team, I think, about 1.7 times. Fisher on Thursday reiterated a claim he made earlier in the week to the Las Vegas Review-Journal, saying the A's lost $40 million last year alone. Now, I thought it was this year. I thought the quote was that this year the A's will lose $40 million. Either way, given the available revenue streams, especially from local and national media rights, the figure raised eyebrows among sports economists. And that's the thing here. No pro sports team that's privately owned and operated, they never open up the books. They never show you, well, here's how much we made, here's what we spent. They just don't do that. A lot of companies don't. They don't either. But the problem is so many things are public. So much of the income, so much of the expenses are widely known. And unless there are some secrets here, a lot of people can put most things together. They can't put all of it together. In fairness, we can't put everything together. But I would love to know, what are we missing? I'm the one writing the checks, Fisher said, so I think I know what things cost. Okay. But I think that's where we would love to go a little bit deeper on that part. A lot of people have made the claim, they've spelled it out, they've said, well, here's how much the A's are making, not actually losing. I'm not sure what to think, other than I would love to know more. I'd love to know more about that. Fisher has been the target of the fans' wrath in Oakland since announcing the Las Vegas plan in April. Green T-shirts with "Sell" written across the chest in white are prominent at every game as are the chance for Fisher to sell the team. Asked what he thinks of the protests, Fisher said, "I take it personally, as I should. It's my decision to move the team. The decision was mine. And so I understand and appreciate the way fans feel about that decision." So there you go. Third and final interview. Like I said at the top, that might be it, one way or another. All of this just comes down to a Major League Baseball vote at this point. And there are some other circumstances. The public funding could be challenged in Nevada, but at this point, as I said yesterday and a few times, these statements were probably not required, but suggested to be made for the process of baseball owners to look back and piece things together. The timing of this was not by mistake. I don't think any of this was random. This was tactical and strategic, and we'll see how it factors in. You made it here to the end of the video. Thumbs up on that down below. I'd really appreciate it. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel so I can definitely see you back here next time.